So everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started because everyone is here. 4 people signed up, and Amy Johns is here for a little bit of the ride. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Jerry Broyles. Most of you know me already. So we're going to talk about Pear Deck today, and Pear Deck is awesome. It is just a great go-to formative assessment, asynchronous way of teaching, and I think that you'll love how easy it is to use and what you can do with it with your kids. So I do have a bit.ly. You will have the slide deck at the end. I don't want to give it to you right now because you're going to be toggling between different screens, and it may be a little confusing for you to have that right now. So here we go. So I'll go to slideshow presentation mode here. If you have any questions today, feel free to stop me, put something in the chat. I have that open right now, and we'll get through it. So why Pear Deck? Well, I just kind of came up with a reason that it's really good for us to use. And some of the highlighted moments I think of is that it's an interactive environment for you and your kids. It's easy for students to learn, and you can deliver content at your own pace. You can turn that off or on if you want. So you can make it like asynchronous, during NTI days. If you just want to have an assignment for your kids, they can get in here and do it on their own. You don't have to be present, and then you can see what they've done, and they can pace themselves through the lesson. It's also great for that SEL moment and kind of understanding where the students are and how they're feeling, and if they're understanding what you're teaching and what they're learning. So we're going to talk about this just briefly. We try to bring this up that there are technology standards out there that we try to reach and that teachers should be trying to reach too. With using Pear Deck with your kids, these are student standards, and these are SDLP posters that make it look a little bit easier to digest. So if you're looking at some of these, it talks about feedback, demonstrating learning with use of technology, producing creative artifacts, because the kids actually are producing something here. It's not necessarily an artifact that they would show, but it is an artifact of their learning. And then additional citizenship, they engage and they learn how to work with others, because sometimes you can show those answers that they're thinking, and you can show it to the entire class. It's a great way to preserve that digital citizenship with your kids. And then also, it's a great platform to learn more about how the students are doing. It gives you immediate feedback, and you can also give feedback during the presentation, during the lesson, and after the lesson. And we'll talk about that later with what they call as takeaways. And then I put a little check mark in Global Collaborator because they are learning to collaborate with one another when they're talking about Pear Deck. And if you bring that up in the discussion, I think it really reaches, it's a good time for the kids to learn from other kids, how they're thinking, how they're answering a question, and what you're pointing out as the teacher. All right, so on this slide, I just put some more resources out here. There's 2 videos here. If you, I'm recording this session, so you can always come back to this session and watch it. And tomorrow I will email you after I've updated Frontline, and I will give you a link to this recorded session as well. But here, if you want to visit like our new this is great because Pear Deck has quick tips on YouTube playlists. They are short videos, like 2 to 3 minutes each, and it breaks down the topics really well. This website is our new website, and I just want to show it off a little bit here. Not a lot of people have seen it, but we've tried to reconstruct, kind of put all of our websites together on one page and get away from our old FCPS blog, which was operated under WordPress. But if you go along here, you can see different things. There's IFPs, there's GoGuardian, there's Pear Deck, and so forth. We're going to be updating this more, but it does have some good updates in it already, so you can check that out. Then the old site, I put this on here because there are old video trainings, videos and trainings, and some of those have slide decks where you may get some ideas of how to use Pear Deck. Okay, and then there's 2 videos here. I would start with this one that Rachel Marcus did, and then I would go to the second one here after you've done the first one, if you want to look at it. All right, so I'm going to walk you through because um, I want to just make sure that you understand how this is created. It's really pretty simple, and it's just a few steps that you have to do. So this is just a slide that I've created. I've done nothing special to it. I put in some tables here. I put in a question that I have. Um, you have to decide what kind of question you want to ask your kids. So for example, do you want to be a multiple choice question? Do you want it to be a number answer? Do you want it to be a text answer that they would give? So whatever question it is that you want, you're going to design your slide for that type of question. Now, if I want this just to be a number question, I could take these multiple choice questions out. I put them in so you would see this. And let's talk about what that is going to look like. So when you have your slide deck made, all you have to do to make it a Pear Deck slide deck is do this. Go to your extensions and go to add-ons, okay? And then you go to get add-ons. Remember, this is in your slide deck, okay? So you go to get add-ons, it'll take you to the Google Play Store, and you'll just search for Pear Deck. Oops. And you go right here, and then you click on this, and then you install it. It's that easy. Once you have that done, it's going to change, and it's going to show this Pear Deck right here, like mine does. Okay, so I'm going to click on Pear Deck, and it's going to upload and start working here. And I'm going to walk you through it. And so it looks a little intimidating here, but don't let that intimidate you. What we want to do is just change this slide right here to a question. And here's our choices. We can do a text box. We can do a multiple choice question. We can do a number where they have to type in a number. We can have it go to a website. I don't think all of those work really well. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. They don't always embed well is what I'm talking about here. Then there's one where it can draw. Now with the drawing, they can choose different colors. They can choose a highlighter. They can choose a pen. You'll see these in just a moment. But they can also do a text box. Then everybody's favorite is the draggable. And draggable is where you can add dots or even little animals or division symbols or math symbols, all kinds of different shapes in there. And then they have to drag those onto the slide deck to answer the question. You will see all of these types in just a few minutes. Now, what I want to do is make this a multiple choice. So I just click right here. And it's working, it's thinking. And so here are my answer choices. So I'm going to move this around a little bit so I can see my answer choices down here. So the first one is 10. Second is 12. Next one is 14. And then I can add another, and that's going to be 16. Now, when I update this, it's actually going to show this in a different step. And you'll see that in just a moment. If I didn't want to do that exactly, like type those in, I could have made this a draggable where they drag like a dot to the answer. Either one is fine. It doesn't really matter whichever one you want to choose. There's advantages to both, and we'll talk about those in just a moment. But now that I see this bar down here, it has a little Pear Deck on it. A little Perry is what his name is. And it lets me know that this is a Pear Deck slide. Now, if I want to change this so it's not a Pear Deck slide, I just click on this, see how it highlighted it, and I just click delete, and it's back to a regular slide. Okay, so I've done a lot of these with that. I've made them draggable icons and so forth, and we'll answer these questions in just a minute. But you can see that at the bottom, there's a little pair, and it's an interactive slide. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and start this lesson, and I'm going to go to the next slide right here. And so to start a lesson, you can go right here. There's a few other things you can check. At the 3 lines here, the 3 little hamburgers, it says require student logins. You will want to make sure that that is actually turned on. That way, when you see all the students' answers, you'll know exactly which student answered which question. Okay, so make sure that's on. This will be very helpful for you. All right, so I'm going to click on start lesson here. All right, so we have a choice. If we wanted to do asynchronous mode, which we'll do in just a moment, we can choose student-paced activity right here. And that would give them a link that they would click on, and then they would walk through the Pear Deck slides at their own pace. We're going to do instructor pace first. So I'm going to click on it and show you what that looks like. Right. So it's thinking, it has a few things it has to do. I closed out a few apps so that it would work a little bit more smoothly right now. So we're just kind of waiting on it. All right, and you all have been quiet this entire time. We're going to talk in a few minutes, so get ready, because I don't like talking to myself the entire time. I get tired of my voice here. All right, so here we go. The slide is loading up. Now, this is what you do, okay? Yeah, it's still loading. All right. So I'll take a little drink here. Okay. Now, when you're presenting on Zoom, it's a little crazy. That's why I didn't want you to open up like even a third tab to show the bit.ly and the slide deck and all that. It's confusing enough. So I would try this in your classroom for sure to see how it works, see what the questions are, see what the quirks are, see how you have to troubleshoot before I would try it online. I would also try it online with a colleague of your own. Maybe it's your PLC partner, whoever it may be. Maybe it's your co-teacher. Try it with them online before you would try it like during an NTI day. Or just use the asynchronous feature, and you can walk through it yourself if you want. You can see how it actually plays out. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to joinpd.com, and I can close this right here. I don't need that. Let me talk about this. This is your teacher dashboard. Your teacher dashboard is actually how you can control the slide deck. So as I go along here, it changes the slides. And I'm going to show you this every now and then to just to kind of see, to let you know what it looks like. But I'm going to move this to another screen. Now, if you don't have dual screens when you're doing this, you can use an iPad. You can even use your phone. And all you have to do is go to app.peardeck.com and you log in and it will come up for you. Okay. So I'll move this over to my other screen here and get it out of the way. And this is how you're going to join. Okay. So you'll go to joinpd.com. This always stays up in the corner for you in case students come in and out of the session or whatever. So you go to joinpd.com and it's going to ask you for a code. And that code is right here. So if you can open up another tab, you'll still hear my voice in the Zoom. Don't worry, I'll still be here. Open up a new tab, go to joinpd.com, type in the code. It's WBNAXG, and I'll put that in the chat in case somebody needs it there. Right. And I can see how many students are connected here. So far I have 2 students. So I'm going to wait till everybody's in there so it can all be interactive. If you have any questions right now, you can feel free to unmute if you want. All right, we're getting there. We just got one more, I think. Now, while we're connecting, you can also do this through Google Classroom. You can invite a class to the actual Pear Deck. You can give students a link where they would go into the Pear Deck as well. And this opens up the teacher dashboard in case you had closed it by chance. Okay, we are all in. Amy said to go ahead without her, so we're good with that. Thank you, Amy. So we'll go on. All right, so I'm going to move you all around a little bit. You don't know what I'm talking about, but your faces are over here, and so is my other stuff. So we're going to move around a little bit. All right, so here's the first one. So I'm clicking on here. So what you have in front of you is it's just an option. This is like a feel good, get to know your students, start doing some fun things with Pear Deck first. Remember when we were always using a tool, try something fun first that is not serious, get the kids involved, get the kinks worked out, and then they're all good. You're happy, they're happy because they're having fun, you are too. So what you're going to do is you're going to drag those stars around to wherever you think serves the best fries, the best burgers, and the best chicken. Right. Right. Now I'm going to drag my dashboard over and just kind of show you what that looks like. So here's my dashboard. Okay. Now this is in overlay mode. So I have 3 modes up here. So I can see all of your answers. And if I go to list, it's going to show the answers here. And it also shows the name of the person associated with it. Okay, so I can see what everybody's chosen. Some of you all have made very good choices, and others I need to talk to you later. Okay, now you can also do a grid layout. So I see everybody that's in here. And you have some choices as the teacher on the dashboard. If you want to star certain responses, then those responses will only show when I'm presenting in the presenter mode, which you've been looking at this entire time. That is presenter mode. This is the dashboard. So there's really only 2 things that you toggle. Okay. So I can star that. I can star responses so only those will show. I can hide responses. So if somebody made an inappropriate response, I can hide the response. And then theirs won't show. You can see that it's grayed out a little bit when I show it in just a moment. You can also do an overlay, and an overlay gives you a good idea of where most of the students are. So if it's a multiple choice question and they've moved a dot onto a multiple choice answer, you can see the outliers of which questions most people may have missed. And you see that automatically and really fast. So here you can see that Arby's and McDonald's had the best fries. And then here we're all over the place for best burgers. And then most of us think that Chick-fil-A has the best chicken. All right, good deal. So I'm going to move this back a little bit. All right, so there's my dashboard. And now this is presenter view. Now, remember when I said hide? Well, I'm going to hide some of those answers here. So let me hide those answers. So I'm going to hide Katie's answer. Okay. And I'm going to hide Madison's answer. So when I go over here to show responses, I'm not showing those 2 responses any longer. I'm not showing all 4 of them. I'm just showing the other 2 students, Heather and Whitney. Okay. Notice in presentation mode, it's anonymous. They don't see, so students will not see other students' names. So you can have an open discussion about what has been answered, what could be some common mistakes, and what most students think is the correct answer. Okay. You can also go to to the overlay mode here, and you can also go to the list view, which just gives it full screen, and then you scroll down to the next one. Okay. All right, let's go to the next question here. All right, so here you're just dragging an icon. You're seeing which house you would like to pick. I love this question because I keep thinking that one day I'll be able to do this somewhere and actually have that house choice. So we'll see. We'll see what you all think. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see where we got some answers. All right, it looks like we have 3 answers so far, so we'll show those answers. Remember, all you have to do is grab the, I think it's like a little icon for a place map. It's a little pin. Okay. So show responses. Okay, we're all good here. So let's go to the overlay mode because I'm not seeing a whole lot here. It's hard to kind of see. So now it's a little bit better. So now we have, looks like 1 person has chose house number 1, 2 people have chosen house number 2, and nobody has chosen my house, which is house number 4. All right, so there we go. Now, notice if you want to continue moving your marker around, try that out. Just grab your marker and move it around. Okay, yeah, you can still move your marker. So as the teacher, I can lock screens. I can give you a 5-second countdown. I can say, all right, in 5 seconds, we're gonna lock them. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we lock the screens, and there you go. You can't move them around any longer. So that gives you a view of what the students finally want to choose as their answer. And there it is. All right, this next question gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit because I learned that some of my colleagues are answering this in a very different way than I would. So here we go. Are you the phone on the left with one alarm or the phone on the right with several snoozed alarms? Readjusting my teacher dashboard over there. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see. All right, so far we got 4 people have answered. Let's go ahead and show those responses. Let's go to overlay mode. Oh, it's 50-50. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, this makes my life a little bit more balanced and I understand things better now. Yeah, so most of my crew, most of my group were over here in this area, and I have to live over here where it's just one alarm, it goes off, I get up and I keep going. Okay, good. That makes me feel better. All right, I think we got one more question, and then we'll get into some other things. Pick your favorite marshmallow. All right, I'm gonna show you one more thing with the dashboard here. So I can see your responses just like this. I can do the overlay again as well, and I can do like a list view where it makes it full screen. I can also add feedback immediately. So if I think that maybe Whitney has the right answer here, then I can just open this up right here, add feedback, and I can say, you are absolutely correct. Okay, oops, a little at symbol there. Then I send feedback. And Whitney will get a message that shows up that she has feedback and she can click on it and see what I typed. Okay. Any questions so far? All right. Let's keep going then. All right, here we go. Here's a math question. This is one where I think you moved the dot, right? Yeah, you moved the red dot over the answer. So instead of like a multiple choice where they choose A, B, C, or D, they just move the dot to the right answer. And the advantage of this it is the overlay mode is really sweet. It gives you an idea of where your students are immediately if you do an overlay mode. So let's go to show responses here. Go to overlay mode, and we see that the entire class is on C. So if that's the right answer, you're good to go. If you're not, you got a lot of reteaching to do. Okay. You can also go here to the grid mode and see those. Remember, it's anonymous, so you don't see the students' names. Okay. Great. Okay, so this slide actually doesn't have an interactive part to it with Pear Deck, so you don't see anything on your end to do. This is how you could possibly go through a lesson with your kids. So we're going to show you a typical lesson here. I'm just going to run through what I think you could do with a typical Pear Deck lesson. It's really short. We have a homework check. Then we get to explore and watch a video. Then we get to explain and practice. We do a temperature check, an individual check, and then an exit slip. These two together will actually be asynchronous. So I will let you do those on your own in just a moment. But right now we're going to continue with teacher paced. So let's go to the next slide here. Let's talk about your homework. So this is just a pre-made slide, and you just drag the icon, the little dot, to wherever you think how it went last night with your homework or with yesterday's assignment. All of the slides that are through Pear Deck, and we'll see a bunch of those in a minute at the orchard, they're all editable. So if you want to change this to yesterday's assignment, that's fine. If you want to change this to yesterday's project, that's fine too. Okay. Show responses, do an overlay, see where we are. You guys are a tough crowd. I don't know what's going on here, but we're going to prove that. So I'm a little scared that y'all are doing that to me. Okay, here's another question. As you come in and get settled, follow these instructions. Find your seat. Take out your classroom device. You post this, they know exactly what to do when they come in, and then they can get ready for your Pear Deck. And you can already have this running. Okay. This is always going to be up there. So if you get them used to using Pear Deck, they know to go to joinpd.com and type that in, or they know to go to Google Classroom and click on the link. All right, y'all can type something. I'm going to show you what it looks like because this is a little bit different of a question that you haven't seen.
If you type,
All right, I'm
does it
going to show this over here.
submit?
Oh, do you have to hit submit? I think if you just keep on typing, it just shows what you have. Is that right?
I think so. That's what I
Yeah,
was trying to
okay.
check because I couldn't
Yeah.
find a submit button.
Okay, yeah, I think you just keep on typing and it shows up. Yeah. So there's all your answers right there. Easy to see what the students are talking about. Okay. All right, this one I like a lot because, I taught seventh grade math, middle school, and, you always had kids that didn't want to talk about, what problems they had that they needed help with. And this is just an easy vote. So you just circle which numbers that you had a problem with that you want to see worked out. And this could be anything that they have or any question that you have. Maybe it's a science worksheet or something that they work on, and they're like, I don't understand how to do number 6. They just circle it, and there they are. Now, I'm going to show you something here if I can. Maybe I can't show that. Let's see. Let's see, hold on just a second. I'm getting here real quick. So I want to show what you're seeing. Join this real quick and talk about, and this is something that you need to do with your kids just to kind of give them a heads up of how to change things on their end. So I'm going to open this up and show you what your screen looks like. All right, so this is what your screen looks like here. So this is a draw anywhere question. It's a good one to use. It gives the students a lot of options. Also, you can use Immersive Reader here. If you haven't used Immersive Reader yet, it's an extension and it reads the text that is actually on a slide deck or a website. Typically, it's a website, but in here, Pear Deck has added it, so it will read any of this text to your students as well. It's a great thing to have, especially if you're doing asynchronous learning and the students are doing it on their own there. So I'm going to close this out. And somebody's gone a little crazy here. That's awesome. Over here is the sizer. So if you click on that, that changes the width of your pen that you're using. So if you go right here and you choose red, you're there all day. Okay. Now you can erase this. There's an eraser you can use. You can also do a back button over here, which is undo. And you can also just do a clear, which throws everything in the garbage can. So you can choose different colors, choose the size that you want. Okay. And then that's a little bit easier to deal with. If you want to do a text box, you just draw that in there, click inside there, and you can start typing. Okay. And you can move your text box around after you're finished typing. Any questions on any of these?
I'm not great.
Okay, I bet y'all can't wait to see what you've drawn. Look at that. Y'all have really become artistic here. I think we have a viral slide because it has a virus going on. Okay, let's move that back over. Okay, so that's what you're seeing, and that's something that you need to show your kids, especially the sizer over here. You can also have a highlighter. The line is nice because it actually produces a straight line. So if you're graphing or they're building something, maybe they're drawing something that has lines in it, that's a great tool for them to use. Again, they can choose any of those colors. They can make the line skinnier or fatter, whatever they want to use. Okay, so I'll move this out. All right, so that's what you're seeing there. So let's go to today's lesson here. And this is what I've done. So this is a video that they would watch. Now, because it's presenting to the entire class, you're doing this on your IFP, you can play this video for them so that they all watch it together in the classroom. That's a little bit easier to manage than having 25 students trying to start a video on their own and trying to hear it. Then you have to have headphones and all that. So my suggestion is, if you're showing a video, which you can do in Pear Deck, you can link it at the bottom, a link, and we'll show you on those in just a moment. I would just go ahead and play it inside the classroom, and y'all can use this. You're free to, you're more than welcome to use this
Spaghetti and
anytime you want.
Meatballs for All, a
This
mathematical
is a great book.
story
Anybody seen this book
written
before?
by Marilyn Burns, illustrated by Debbie Tilley.
Maybe not. Okay. All right. So we're not going to listen to that, but we're going to stop it right here. Let's go to the rest of the lesson. Now, with this, I noticed that you all, this is what I'm talking about with a link. This is your view right here. Sometimes the embedded websites do not come up very well, so it has to link. And when it links, it actually takes them out of Pear Deck, opens up a new tab, and then they can go into it that way. That's how IXL works and a lot of other websites. So they can do the lesson here. Just know that when you have that like that, and it's not embedded in their Pear Deck, then it's going to link out and open up a new tab. Okay, let's continue with the lesson. So here they work on IXL and do some example problems. Okay, so now we bring the class back. We will read through some of this, and this is just talking about perimeter. We'll continue with the lesson. And then they get to a part where they can draw on this using any of the tools that they want. So here they're finding the perimeter of these 4 different squares. Now this, this is 4 because there's 4 sides plus 4 more, plus 4 more, plus 4 more. That's kind of how the book goes with perimeter. You have to read the book or see the video 1. But the kids can go over here, they can go to the pencil, and then they can answer the questions right here, write in their answers. Okay. So I'll give you a second or two to try those out, and then we'll look at those. Move this out of the way. See how y'all are doing here. About 10 more seconds here just to try it out. You don't have to get the right answer right. Just try it out, see what you think with the drawing tool. All right, I see everybody has tried something on there. That's great. We'll go to the next slide here. And again, you can take your time with this, show students certain responses, certain answers, have a class discussion. Okay, then you can bring them all back together, have them try this on their own, and then you can go over the answers as well. On this one, I gave students a workspace down here if they want to, start adding some things together, just adding numbers or whatever, they could do that.
Okay. So I wanted you to go ahead.
And they don't have to use the screen, by the way. I mean, paper and pencil at their desk is fine. You know how to do it. You all are great teachers. I know that you are. So just another thought there, because math can be pretty tough when you're dealing with a computer and trying to draw numbers and stuff. It just doesn't work very well. Right. Okay, next. Okay, so after they've done that, after you brought them back together, you can do a temperature check. Temperature check is just how they're feeling. If they're anxious, if you need to slow down, if you need to speed up, if they need extra help, if they really just need to raise their hand and they're not, you can do that. So here's something that you can use, a template that you can use for that. Drag your dot to how you are feeling. Okay, now, at any time during your lesson, if you didn't include a temperature check and you wanted to include one right then, you can do that by doing this. Let's go over here to new prompt. And I can click on that and I can drag in any of these prompts right here at that moment. So if I want to do this on the fly, even if I want to change the lesson up so that they have, a discussion about something being true or false, or want them to draw a picture, whatever it may be, I can add that slide in right here just by clicking on the slide. Also, on the slide that you have, it gives you some other choices. So maybe you had it multiple choice and you really want to see a dot so that you could see an overlay better. You could throw in a dot, okay? A draggable is what they call it, but you move the dot to see to where the answer is, and then the teacher could use an overlay to see what students have chosen most or least, whichever one you're looking for. Okay. So at any time you can throw in those prompts if you need another prompt. Y'all are doing much better. Look at this. Everybody said, keep going. I understand. That makes me feel a lot better. Awesome. All right, let's keep going here. Now, this is individual practice. So I'm going to turn on student pace mode. So right now it's been teacher pace this entire time. What I do is go over here. There's 3 dots. And by the way, on the 3 dots, you can open in a dashboard, a new window if you close yours by accident. But you can also turn on student pace mode. So we're going to turn on student pace mode, and I'm going to tell you how far to go here. You're going to see a slide with a stop sign and an activity, a short activity for you to do on that slide. So when you see the stop sign, just stop, and I'll turn student pace mode on here. Before we do that, are there any questions at all? Everybody's good? Okay.
There's a little like icon in the bottom right corner of my screen, and it looks like a little book with a little like audio symbol, and I'm just curious what it is. I just don't know.
Absolutely. So this is your screen, and that's Immersive Reader. So if you click on that, it will start reading the text that's on the slide.
Gotcha.
Yep. Good question. All right, here we go. Student pace mode. And it gives me a little message that it's about to start. I press OK. That's fine. Okay. You all are on your own. You can use your arrows now. So yours looks like this. Use your arrows to toggle to the next slide. Answer each question. And when you come to the stop sign, just stop. Okay. So I kind of thought of this as like, how will I know when students have gotten to that slide that I want them to end at? And I thought that maybe they can move something. So I thought of like a fish in a fishbowl. So maybe it's just an idea you could use. It could be, if they have all kinds of different icons you can get, like little dogs, little people, little stars or whatever. If you find a place that you want them to drag that object to, that can kind of give you a heads up when students have actually reached that slide. Okay. Any questions before we move on? All right. Well, that was just a lesson idea. It had some exploratory, where we actually watched a video. We did some example problems. We did a little bit of review with IXL. We had some practice time on their own. And then we did an exit ticket, which wasn't related to what we learned today, but it was from a previous day. Okay. And then we stopped here with that everybody kind of work on their own. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I have a lot of slides in here, and I know it's 4:41, so I'm keeping track of time here. So I want to show you, and we'll just go student pace a little bit further here, some other ideas. So I've categorized some of these slides into their subject areas: science, math, ELA writing, and social studies. And I just want you to have some time to go through those, try them out if you want to. Don't spend a lot of time on them, but I want you to see different examples so that you have different ideas of what you can use in your classroom. So I'm going to go to the last. There's a lot of examples, but I want to give you different ideas. You're actually going to go to slide 69, and there's a stop sign, and then it says teacher tools. So scroll through those, just arrow through those at your own pace. I'm going to give you about 5 to 10 minutes to do that. Maybe somewhere in between. We'll see where we are. And I can see your progress, by the way, on the teacher dashboard where you are as well. It shows me how many students are on each slide, gives me a number. So I'll check with you in about 5 minutes and just kind of go through here and see what you like. Be prepared to tell us one that you thought was like, that's really cool. I didn't even think we could do that with Pear Deck. And we'll have a little discussion at the end. And I'll be quiet for 5 whole minutes at least. All right, with our last minute, what I want you to do is go back through all of those different slides and choose either one you have a question about, or choose one that you think is your favorite, and we'll talk about it a little bit further. So I'm going to turn off student pace mode in just a second. So go back through and look to see which one you think it is, and just remember the name or the number of the slide, and then we can talk about that in just a moment. So go through and see which one you like the best or you have a question about, and tell us what slide number that is in just a moment. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off student pace mode. I do that by going right over here to the X, and just press that. And now that takes you to the one that I've chosen. I'm going to choose one, and I'll do it first. I'll choose the one that I like the best. It's not the fanciest one, but it's the one that gives you the most discussion, I think. And 2 of you answered this. So I can show you the responses here. So one of you chose all the dimes as something that doesn't belong, and another person chose all the pennies. So the pennies, I think that's probably because they're they're all copper, right? They're very different looking. So who chose the dimes? Let's see who that was. Heather, tell us why you chose the dimes.
I chose them because they were tails and the other ones were all heads.
Okay, yeah, very good. Absolutely. Yeah. What if somebody chose quarters? Can anybody respond to that? Why would somebody choose quarters?
It's only one.
Because it's what? I'm sorry.
It's only one.
Well, that was the nickels. But what if they
That's the
chose
nickels. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah,
I said I
you're-
didn't answer the question, but I was going to pick the nickel because it's only one. Yeah, no, that's the
Oh,
nickel.
I got you. Yeah, no
Quarters.
problem at all.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
Hey, I hear you.
It costs the most.
Okay, they cost the most. Okay, good. Yeah, absolutely. And so I like this because there's not one specific answer, and you can have a class discussion about all the different characteristics and qualities of coins and so forth. So we're just going to kind of go down the list, and if you want to volunteer first, that's fine. What was your favorite slide? Who wants to go first?
I will go first. I picked 45.
Right. Very brave choice there, Madison.
Okay, I like it because as an ESL teacher, it gives the picture and the word. So they're able to kind of like relate a picture instead of having to look at the word and know the vocabulary. They may just be able to match it to the image that they already know.
That's great. I love that. All right, I like that. Thanks. Who'd like to go next?
Mine was 54.
Okay, hold on just a second. Why was this your favorite?
Okay, so I actually do these quite often, and I did them a lot during NTI, and I would just
Yeah.
upload Google Slides with
Yeah.
little text boxes, and they were kind of obnoxious to navigate, but this really makes it very easy because a lot of the kids to solve have to literally write, like they would need to write 10, 10, 10, and then go fill in all the 10s and then
Right.
go back and fill in the 5s. And this makes it very user friendly because they can type
Yes.
for those who don't like a wiggly pen, and they can draw for those who like lots of colors.
Yeah, Katie, that's awesome. I can't tell you how many times I've got this problem wrong. I mean,
Really?
it's just, you don't notice things until you notice it. It's like so bizarre. Like here, there's 2 bags of fries, not one.
Right.
So you have to divide by 2. And what's the
Right.
other one? Do anybody know? The other thing that messes you up? This is a multiplication sign.
Yes.
So all these others are, adding, and then they throw in a multiplication sign like, oh, wow. So you
Yeah,
have order of operations here?
we do these quite often in my class. I have a subscription to a website that like they just produce tons of them. And it's fun to have the kids like catch each other on their
Yeah,
mistakes because you always have that one that like gallantly rides in thinking they know it all, but
right, right.
slow your roll, man.
Like some of us have before, and then we're like fall flat on our face, right? That's great. I would love to,
Exactly.
if you could share that website with me via email or something, that'd be great. I'd love to see that. Maybe I can see some free problems that they have or something. Anybody else want to go?
I chose 44 because it had
Okay.
tacos and I think it's supposed to dinner time and that's just where my brain was going. So
Yeah, and Heather, that's awesome. I love that. So I actually created this problem. I think I stole like the kitchen graphic somewhere, and I stole the chef somewhere. Um, but I think I just put in like I put in the same image, multiple times and on a tray because I chose tacos because that's one of the choices you can have for a draggable. Tacos is actually a choice. So you have to kind of look through those when you're making a slide. I'll try to show you that before we end today. So nice. I like that. All right, Whitney, you want to share one with us?
Sure. I've already forgotten the number. I think it was 39.
Okay.
It was the graph in science where they were graphing. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Then it was maybe 30. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
I was thinking, and this is just because I was planning our next math unit, for second grade math on using graphs and interpreting data.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, well, this would be just something we could use right away. Students are given data, they put it in a graph, and then I could always include other slides with questions that go along with what they just did on their graph. So,
Yeah, that's great. And depending on what kind of information you give them, what kind of data, maybe it's their own data where everybody's
correct.
just going to look
Yes.
different, or
Right.
maybe it's the same data. You can try it out, multiple ways.
Right. Right. Right.
And this is what, I'll show, let's see. This is what two of ours look like. One person chose to just put little dots, and
Hmm.
then the other tried to actually color it in. So you're going to see
Right.
some different answers there.
Right.
All right, nice. Okay, well, we will get to the end here. And I do love these questions, like graphing. You can do higher level stuff here. Doesn't have to be elementary stuff. So I do love that it's so easy to use and versatile. All right, so let's go into teacher tools here a little bit. Let's just talk a little bit. That's a really scary sign, isn't it? So remember, these are your question types, and we'll be sure to look at draggables at the end because they're just a little bit different. So I do remind you of those question choices that you have. These are the different ways that you can actually share out the PD. So even our older middle school and high school students can use it inside Canvas. Google Classroom, you can either make it a link where it's going to be a live session with you running it as the teacher, or you can embed it so that it becomes a asynchronous lesson for students to use. Whenever they click on it, it just starts and it opens and they can do it on their own time. These were the different ways that you can show responses. So you have the list, you have the grid view, and the overlay. Depending on what kind of question it is, overlay is very helpful. If it's like a text question, that's not going to be very helpful because it's going to be all text jumbled together. So it just depends what kind of question it is and what object they're using to show their answer. All right, so here's examples of those for you, what they look like on the teacher dashboard. Okay. And then let's talk about student takeaways. So I'm going to go ahead and look at those. I'm going to show you an example if I can here. Let's go over one more here. I'm going to do these out of order a little bit. So this is what a student takeaway looks like. And this is from another lesson that we used a couple weeks ago. I'll click on this. And Pear Deck generates this for the teacher and for the student. It goes automatically into the student's Google Drive. That's where they would search for it. They would go to Pear Deck, and then they would go for the name of the lesson right here. And so this one's called Let It Snow. And then they can see every question that they had to answer, all the responses. So here was the question. Okay, we used that one before with ours. And then they can see their response was right here. It's hard to see because it's kind of small. But here they can see like a multiple choice question, what answer they chose, what were the other choices. And then they had to design their own Chromebook label. So there's their design that they created. This was a fill in the blank form. So it's multiple places where they needed to answer. And they would just use the text box to actually type in their answer and move it around to the right place. Okay, so they get all of this automatically sent to their Google Drive. Now, as a teacher, you're able, let me back up just a little bit here. I'll show you what it looks like here. If I go to end this session, we'll just do this at the end. It's going to give me a choice to go ahead and issue the takeaways for each student. But I can also go back as a teacher later on and give multiple feedback on their takeaways in my own time. And then I can publish them again so that students have it. And they also have feedback from me, the teacher. So it's a great way to give that feedback because oftentimes you can do feedback in the classroom, but you may not have time to do that for every single student. And they all love to hear that feedback from you. All right, so let's look at this. This is the Content Orchard. And I'm going to see if I can hop into that. Let's see. We'll load that up right here. So if you just do a search for that, and I think actually the graphic on your end is linked to the Content Orchard. This is where they have a repository of different lessons that have been created by Pear Deck. And you can search by your grade level, by the subject, and by the category and so forth, and do a search. Some of these are definitely better than others. I think that what you all create as teachers would be on par with any of these, and really, getting into your PLCs and sharing those slide decks is easy to do. And the beautiful thing about this is once you share a slide deck, you just have to make a copy of it. And all those Pear Deck questions are already there for you, and you don't have to do anything extra. They all come in and they work just like they did for the person who created the Pear Deck. Okay. So today, when you go to, if you go to the bit.ly that I have for this deck here, it's still going to have all those same questions in it. And you just have to start your Pear Deck and it will run like we just saw today. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so that's the Content Orchard. Oh, and we're at 5:01. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to hop out of here and show you this real quick. So sorry, I got carried away. Let me go here. Here's some more examples. I'm going to go ahead and end this though so you can see it. If you would go to the feedback survey, go ahead and open that. You can click on it on your end. It should be clickable and you can open it up. Please complete that for me and that will give me some feedback of how this went for you. And I'm going to close this out and show you the takeaway that you can do. So right here, I'm going to end this session. And I can name it. So I'm going to say, let it snow. And I'll say January 25th. Okay, so I save and end. And this is where I generate those takeaways. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If I wanted to go ahead and add some reflection to each of the students' takeaways, I can do that here as well. I have an opportunity to do that after they're published too. So I'm going to click this.
Oh, no.
So everybody will have their own takeaway. It'll show up in your Pear Deck folder inside your Google Drive. So I'll go ahead and close this. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this for today. And I'm sorry that I kind of ran out of time there. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear what how we can help. If you want to have someone one-on-one to help you walk through some of this, feel free to reach out to any of us here or me. I'd love to help you as well. But if you want to reach out to your school's DLC, that's totally fine. If you need somebody to just kind of bounce Pear Deck off of and try to get into your lesson with you, we would love to do that too. We could do it through Zoom or we can do it in person.